Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got a video about my guy, Hoops Reference, man. And this, it's just Hoops Reference, not Hoops Reference, man. Link to his channel description below, titled, Official NBA All-Star Selections 2022, Who Gets Snubbed. So, I know yesterday was the last day of voting. I don't know if they were actually announced yet, so we're going to check this out, man, see what it's all about. But, yeah, I was pretty busy. You know, I got a new girlfriend, if you guys don't know, man. Her name's Juliana. She is fantastic, and, like, it was her birthday and everything, so we're celebrating. And, yeah, for her birthday, because, you know, man, it's always like that first birthday gift. You know, don't want to get too crazy with it, but also you don't want to get not crazy enough. So, as you guys know, I'm in, like, my blue and red room now for my YouTube videos. So, that green room that I used to do videos in, I turned it into, like, a little, like, office creative area for her. She's really good at art and, like, painting and stuff like that. But also, she goes to U of M, man, so, University of Michigan, and the room is green and white, man, like Michigan State colors. So I thought it was kind of ironically funny too. So yeah, kind of set her up a little area to do her studies at, man. But I don't know, just that's what I've been doing. Okay, so here we go. Let's check this out.
The NBA's All-Star Game may not be for another few weeks, but the fan voting for who the viewers want to see in the event
at least the stars we should know
tomorrow,
now.
So the picks need to be in as soon as possible. The event is a time to celebrate the best players of the season, and while there are always familiar
at least the most fun to watch
year in and year out, this season we should definitely be seeing quite a few first-timers joining the ranks, which is pretty exciting stuff. So obviously, for today's video, I'll be going through both conferences, selecting the 12 players each that, in my opinion, deserve to be chosen to play in the game the most. Additionally, because of how difficult the final few inclusions can be, I will acknowledge a few snubs that just missed the cut at the end of each selection process as well. Before we start, though, I want to thank
Prize Picks. Go use my dude, what's his reference called, man? Reference, guys, go check it out, man.
For sponsoring this
video.
Go
represent the sponsorships,
now let's get back into the topic at hand. Starting in the Eastern Conference, the starting...
Yo! That's exactly who I have, except I have Jason Tatum over Durant, but simply because of his injury, man. So, yes. All right, I already feel good about myself. I'm on the same page as Hoops. Okay, let's go.
Court of locks, pretty much, as Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Kevin Durant will easily take those three spots. Then for the guards, my choices are Trae Young and DeMar DeRozan.
The right choices.
I won't spend too much time on the players that were obvious selections, but needless to say, Giannis, Durant, and Embiid are all prime MVP candidates this year, so their inclusion should be self-explanatory. Giannis's two-way prowess has him not only in the MVP race, but also the Defensive Player of the Year race.
He's going to get MVP
Durant
again.
Is the league's
third time, right?
Scorer, and Embiid is carrying a shorthanded 76ers team to a top 5 seed, despite all of the Ben Simmons drama unfolding and a down year from his running mate Tobias Harris. As for the backcourt, Trae Young's Hawks may be one of the most underwhelming teams of the season as they currently sit in 12th place in the East, but it isn't due to lack of production from Trae. He's scoring about 28 points and dishing out 9.5 assists per game.
That's all-star numbers.
He's the engine that makes the Hawks offense go, that ranks second in the league, by the way, and while impacting winning does come into account for these nominations...
Yeah, he's the engine that makes them go, but they need some wings to make them fly. And I don't know what players those are going to be in the future.
Is too huge.
Also, I just wanted to say that. So.
With DeRozan, he gets the final guard spot because he's coming from a Bulls team that he has helped transform completely. They're sitting atop the Eastern Conference standings right now. He's the team's leading scorer. And he's been responsible for closing out games in clutch fashion countless times. Now that we've gotten the starters out,
here we go.
Move on to the East's bench.
All right, so yeah, we got Zach LaVine, James Harden. No disagreements there whatsoever. Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum. Yup, between one of those guys who should start over Durant. Then you got Jarrett Allen. I love the Cleveland Cavaliers support. I was kind of hoping maybe see Darius Garland, but LaVine and Harden, I think, deserve it a little bit more. So, yeah, that's fine. And plus, he's going to have 2 X factors, too. But Jarrett Allen, great choice. I love that.
Which, for those of you who don't know, also needs to be comprised of 2 guards, 3 front court players, then 2 additional wildcard players that can be either one. So, with that said, the first 5 bench players for me are James Harden and Zach LaVine in the backcourt, then Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, and Jarrett Allen.
Would be kind of cool to maybe see LaMelo.
Harden started the season slow, and people were very critical of his play, but as the season has progressed, he's returned to form as one of the most lethal playmakers in the NBA, as he is currently leading the league in assists per game, dishing out 10 of them. Zach LaVine gets the nod as DeRozan's partner in the backcourt of the best team in the East, and his 25 points per game definitely warrant selection along with that. Jimmy Butler actually has his Miami Heat.
You could even argue LaVine with DeMar's starters.
Eastern Conference standings too right now, which I feel like is flying a bit under the radar, but he has embraced more of a playmaking role while taking control of games down the stretch too, so he is also an easy choice here. Jayson Tatum is a pick that I'll admit I'm not the biggest fan of having to make here, because every criticism that has come his way this year has been pretty valid.
That's a good point.
His scoring is down, his shot selection deserves backlash, his efficiency has tanked from prior seasons, and he doesn't pass the ball enough. But his
yeah, that is always a difficult thing where it's like Tatum just by himself is an all-star, but like, is there more like deserving players, but also are people going to choose them players over Jayson Tatum? Because the All-Star game really is, it's a big popularity contest. I think the fan voting, attunes to that.
Overall production is still objectively solid, and we would be kidding ourselves if we said that we wouldn't have him in the game this year. As for Jared Allen,
who would you guys put over him?
First newcomer that we're discussing today so far, and his work for Cleveland as their rim protector on defense has helped elevate them to being a top 3 team defense in the NBA. Then, with his individual production overall, he's putting up a nice 16 points and 11 rebounds per game, so while some of you might think this is a weaker selection, I can assure you that he is deserving this year.
Yeah, I like it.
Now we move on to the 2 wild
Hey, yo, nice! Yo, clutch! That is perfect. That is perfect, man. See, I watch Hoops Reference. This man knows what he's talking about, guys. Those are the wild card picks, yes, for sure, man. Darius Garland, Fred VanVleet. I'm all for the Cleveland Cavaliers because really it took, Garland and Jarrett playing like all-stars to get them to where they're at. Like the expectations and everything. Yes, I absolutely love this. I love this. And Fred VanVleet, very underrated.
Can be either position.
He nailed it. He nailed it.
This conference,
perfect picks.
2 guards.
If it's not this, I'll be disappointed.
And Darius Garland.
And probably cry.
At one point, it felt like this would be a wash of a season for the Raptors as they dealt with a ton of injuries, but VanVleet simply refused to let that happen, as he's been averaging about 26 points and 7 assists per game over his last 11 games, which featured a 6-game winning streak in that span too. As for Garland, for me, it came down to either him or LaMelo Ball, who I unfortunately had to snub from the last
That's
spot.
all right.
And honestly, I think Garland gets the slightest of edges over him as he is scoring more points than LaMelo.
Yeah, the only thing I could see in this case is maybe like the coach is not wanting to vote in 2 Cavalier players as opposed to having, one Kevin Jarrett and also one Hornet and LaMelo.
He's dishing out more assists than LaMelo and is shooting more efficiently than LaMelo for a better team too. Now moving on to the Western Conference beginning.
Oh, here we go. Yes. Steph Curry, John Morant, LeBron James, Jokic, Rudy Gobert. I think I did originally have Rudy Gobert as one of my starters also. Now, John Morant, I think at that time, before they went on the win streak and stuff, I forgot who I had starting, but it was not John Morant. I like these picks, though. You show respect, to the Utah Jazz, who don't always get a ton of respect. LeBron and Jokic, no-brainers. Curry not having his greatest season, but still as good as any all-star out there. And then John Morant, yeah.
Lineup, we have Steph Curry and John Morant in the backcourt, followed up by Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Rudy Gobert in the frontcourt. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the obvious choices, as you all know why LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Nikola Jokic are there, but I gave John Morant the nod as the second starting guard in the lineup.
I can see maybe Draymond over Rudy, but
this Grizzlies team to heights nobody saw.
We're going based off defense,
as they sit in 3rd place in the Western Conference standings at the moment. And when you look at his averages of 25 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds per game, there isn't anyone else with a better argument here when it comes to production combined with winning record. As for Rudy Gobert, he may not be much of a fan favorite around the league, but he is at the heart of everything that the Jazz succeed
That's kind of the thing.
Every advanced metric ranks him as one of the most impactful players of the season. That, plus, if I'm being honest, the Western Conference hasn't really produced many all-star caliber frontcourt players either, because of either the amount of talent that are injured, or because of just disappointing overall individual
seasons. Like Ingram, but the Pelicans suck, so
you don't really want to have him as a starter. The first 5 names on the Western Conference bench are Luka Doncic and Chris Paul in the backcourt, then Draymond Green, Karl Anthony Towns, and Paul George in the frontcourt.
I think Paul George would have been my choice over Rudy Gobert if he would have stayed healthy. But I think Paul George, I think Paul George, you announce him as a starter for what he did, but then you injury replace him with with Rudy Gobert, then you have another forward position locked
Doncic
up.
Is another star that began the year slowly, but as of late, his production is getting back to the crazy numbers that we've grown accustomed to seeing from him, and on top of that, the Mavericks are also moving up the standings and dominating on defense, which may surprise some of you. Chris Paul is what makes the Suns, who have the best record in the NBA right now, go, and while he has an argument to start in favor of Ja Morant, I favor Ja Morant over him, so he's slotted onto the bench. For the forwards, as I said earlier, the front court options in the West are kind of weak this year, but Draymond Green is probably leading the Defensive Player of the Year race, and the Warriors, when they play without him, as evidenced by their collapse against the Pacers, show that he is so critical to their success. Karl Anthony Towns is averaging 24 points and 9 rebounds per game while shooting the ball above 40% from 3. And
yeah, I like seeing Cat out there. I guess I didn't really have him as one of mine.
Done as a shooter, so he's here. Then with Paul George, he has missed a good bit of time, but he's played 26 games so far on the season, which I admit is cutting it close, but it's still enough of a sample size to justify his selection, mostly because I don't really like many of the other options in the front court for the West. As for the final
maybe Ingram or Wiggins,
spots in the Western Conference,
3 Warriors kind of pushing
and Donovan Mitchell. Once again, 2 guards snagged the wild card spots because this has been a season dominated by guard play. As the team with
I think originally I did have maybe Booker or Mitchell starting, but yeah, I think Ja Morant deserves it now. Yeah, for like wild cards, having both those guys together, just for the sake of argument and or lack of, I think is a good choice.
The best record in the West, the Suns
they both deserve it for different reasons.
And Devin Booker being their leading scorer is more than enough justification for that choice. As for Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz may no longer be the #1 seed in the West like they were a season ago, but they get a second All-Star nomination from their team because Mitchell is still individually deserving as he averages about 26 points per game to lead the way for the team. The only real snubs that I can think of in the Western Conference are Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard, but both have
injuries. I think Wiggins would probably be the biggest snub, especially based off the fan voting. I think they currently have him as like a top 3 forward. So he very well could end up starting because of that, to be honest, and just kind of like, it's so weird. I could see Wiggins making it as a starter, but I could see him not making it as a reserve because that's coach voting. So
been held out of competition for weeks now, or even months, due to injury, and Lillard specifically isn't set to return anytime soon, so it's incredibly tough to justify picking someone in that position. Andrew Wiggins is someone who has had massive push from the fan voting to be in the All-Star game, but while it has been awesome seeing him embrace the role that he's in on the Warriors by taking smarter shots and playing better defense,
perfect.
I just don't agree with the idea of him being an All-Star this season at all. He has been good, but 18 points and 4 rebounds per game don't really cut it when every metric actually points to your 2 teammates of Curry and Draymond Green being the impact players on the squad and not you. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today.
Alright, yeah, I agree with this vote right there. I don't really have anything to complain about whatsoever. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.